Welcome to Anchor Down from the Vanderbilt campus. Zach and Jimmy are back here with episode 5 of JT and Zeke on West End. Today we will talk about the Ole Miss game, look ahead at MTSU and some of our other opponents, and revisit the battle round. Jimmy, how was Ole Miss? Just got back a day ago.
Yeah, Saturday was a crazy day. Tailgating at the Grove was more than it was hyped up to be. All of the quads are just decked out in red and blue tents, and all of the fans are unbelievably friendly, so thank you to all the Ole Miss fans for being so courteous and willing to give away their food and all of that. I had a great time. And then the game itself was awesome. The stadium was rocking, especially on third downs. It must have been tough to be McCrary on those. And it was a true SEC atmosphere. I enjoyed being there.
You got to see some high-quality football, too.
That was by far our best game. Score was 27-16. I think we both agree that that's pretty indicative of the performance of both teams. The score actually could have been closer if it weren't for that stupid fair catch interference call. But 27-16 is a pretty close score, and our defense was lights out at times. I really liked what I
think
saw.
We might have one of the best. We definitely have one of the best defenses in the country. It might be a top 5 defense even. It's impressive, especially when you get down by the goal line. Some of the stands we made, 7 plays inside the 5 that one drive. Didn't let them in.
There was one drive in which they had 7 plays within the 5, and then there was another in which they had 6, and both times we were stopping them pretty consistently. We have the number 1 red zone defense in the country, that's for sure. One thing to note, maybe we don't have the top red zone offense in the country, but they were very improved over what we saw in the past.
Oh, definitely. That throw that McCrary made, even though Shoy wasn't able to come down with it on the sideline, that was ridiculous. That was one of the best throws I've ever seen. Rolling left as a right-handed quarterback, putting it right on the money. And I think the big difference is he really looked poised in the pocket. He looked confident out there. It looked like he belonged on the field.
McCrary did not make any big mistakes this game, and that's a first. The thing that I have been on his case for is the fact that he creates turnovers and he just has these stupid plays. And I didn't see a single play in which I said, wow, that was really dumb that game. I think every single time there was an incompletion, it was more due to either him throwing the ball away in a wise situation or just making, an inaccurate toss. And I can live with that.
He even threw it out of bounds a couple times. I don't think I've ever seen that from him before. The decision-making was really good. I think some of that has to go. Some of the credit has to go to Andy Ludwig. He's creating throws that McCrary likes, easy reads for McCrary.
We ran a much more up-tempo offense overall. My sense is that McCrary's just more comfortable in that situation. What do you think?
Oh, he definitely is. The hurry-up looked the best the first couple games, and doing that, even though it wasn't a true hurry-up offense, it was more high-powered. It looked like the offense it looked like a different squad than was out there the first couple of weeks, especially against Western Kentucky and part of that Georgia game. The offense looked good.
I saw a few good things from the running backs, too. Crawford, for one, that was really cool to see him on the field. We both thought he was going to redshirt this year, and maybe it was due to the Dallas injury that he came in. But he was our most impressive running back in the game. He had a really nice reception, 20 rushing yards, pretty elusive, agile guy. He may be someone that factors into the lineup a lot in the future.
Yeah, the offensive line looked good, too. We were concerned going into the game that Ole Miss's defensive front, especially Kim Dichie, would be too much for us to block.
I thought they were in the first half, second half not.
I think that they were, but watching it on TV, even though they did look a little bit overpowering in the first half, it wasn't like they were breaking the game open. And Webb had 25 carries for 90 yards, although that's not good. That's one of the best fronts, one of the best defensive lines in the country. You can't really complain with that.
Yeah, well, I think 43 of those yards all came on one rush, which was a beastly rush.
That
was his first big run all season, I think. I'm pretty happy to have seen that. But I'm still a little skeptical of Webb so far this season. Hopefully MTSU can be his breakout performance.
Yeah, looking at that MTSU game, I don't know how people have us as 4-point underdogs right now. They must just not be watching the games, must be looking at the score lines, because there's no way we should be 4-point dogs to MTSU.
This is ridiculous. The first thing I said after the loss against Ole Miss was that people that have been low on Vandy, making fun of the team, can no longer do that. We are a respectable program, and we proved that we are more than legitimate. We really hung in there against the 3rd best team in the country, and you're saying we're 4-point underdogs against a team that just lost to Illinois, and Illinois lost to North Carolina by a ton, and North Carolina lost to South Carolina. By the transitive property, we should have South Carolina beating MTSU by 30, and I think we're going to beat South Carolina, hopefully, when we face them. I really just don't think that we should be underdogs at all. I think we should be favored by at least a touchdown in this.
Oh, definitely. That 3-word phrase that people love to say about us, first word being same, definitely does not apply anymore, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It looked like our team actually belonged out there with Ole Miss, although we didn't win. It looked like a game. It didn't look like, oh, this is one of Ole Miss's cupcakes that some people probably thought it was going to be before. Most people did. We were 27-point dogs at game time. And we really showed strong out there. Even the offense, the defense, even special teams. One big return by Sims. That one play that we almost had that you talked about, that muffed punt that could have went our way. I think this team looks really good, and it's something to be excited about going forward.
Yeah, I mean, MTSU, I think they've scored 72 points or something like that twice. They lost to Bama, which is expected, and they lost to Illinois. They're not like your crappiest out-of-conference opponent. They're definitely a good one, but it's hard for me to see us losing this one, in my opinion.
I think, what would you say if you had to give a score?
I'd probably say we score 31. It seems like our offense found its rhythm in the last game, and I don't see us letting up more than 14. I'll give MTSU the benefit of the doubt and say 31-14.
I'm looking right in that range, too. I was thinking maybe 27-13, 30-13. I think we're going to go with 30-10. I think we win this one convincingly. I think we win by 20 points. It might be close at the beginning. But if our offense looks anything like it did,
and if our corners play as well as they did, they were really
our corners
impressive.
looked good. They were bend, but definitely did not break. Those are the best receivers in the country they were going up against.
Yeah, DeMaurier Stringfellow and Laquan Treadwell, they are both absolute beasts, have great size and great athleticism. And they did beat our corners a few times, but our corners did a great job of recovering. And more than anything else, they got their hand in the right spot to either deflect passes or at least make catches difficult. So that was really cool to see.
Against Ole Miss, going up against NFL quality players on both sides of the ball, and really showed strong. Kim Dichie, their whole defensive line, our offensive line, although young, definitely showing improvement. And as Mason said, Mason seemed so confident in that post-game interview in his press conference. I don't think I've ever seen him sound like that before. And he's saying there's no moral victories. Teams aren't going to want to face us in October and November, and I think he's right about that. This is a team that could go ahead, and we were thinking, oh, will we win an SEC game? This is a team that I think we could win multiple SEC games going forward. It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, there's 8 games left, and in my opinion, every single one of those 8 games is winnable. A&M seems the least winnable of the 8, but after seeing what they did last week, maybe not. And speaking of which, I think it may be time to start the battle round.
Well, I'm surprised you even want to do that because you were bragging.
I want to redeem myself.
I'm so good at picking games. You went 2-2, and guess who went 4-0 last week? Undefeated.
Okay, big man, whatever. I think this is a new week, and hopefully I can redeem myself. We have 5 games this time around.
All right.
All of them could go either way. It's hard to pick these. We're starting off with A&M versus Mississippi State. It's at Texas A&M. Who are you taking?
I'm going to have to go with A&M. I think it was a shaky game for them last week, but I'm still very high on their defense, high on Kyle Allen. I think they're going to bounce back, show out very strong at home this weekend.
I'm actually not high on A&M anymore, and there's 2 reasons for that. One was the Arkansas game, and 2, that big win against Arizona State. I'm starting to realize it wasn't that big. Arizona State just got demolished against USC. Maybe A&M's not as good as we think they are. I'm going with Mississippi State.
Okay, next game. I think it's pretty much a toss-up. These are 2 teams that we hope that we'll be able to beat this year, South Carolina and Missouri in Missouri.
I'm going to take South Carolina, but both of these teams are no good in my opinion. But Nunez looked really good at quarterback. I think he ran for like 150 yards last game. I'm going to take South Carolina, but tough to decide.
I'm going to have to go with Mizzou. Their defense is the only above-average unit that'll be out there on Saturday, and I think that South Carolina is not above average in any regard, any part of their team, so I'm going to go with Missouri.
Okay. Next up, we have Alabama at Georgia.
This is the biggest game in the country, we think, this weekend. West versus East, probably the best, or possibly the best teams in each of them. Ole Miss, of course, beat Alabama, but a lot of people are still saying the Tide are better than them.
I can see that.
I'm going to have to go with Alabama on the road. I think that there is not too much of a difference in between the 2 running games. I think Alabama's more of a complete team in other areas than Georgia is.
Georgia has not done a single thing that could make me doubt them yet this season. They've been winning all of their games by a lot, other than the Vandy game, in which we played pretty well. I'm going to take Georgia in this one. Their running backs are too good. Grayson Lambert's been amazing at quarterback. I'm going with Georgia.
I think we have to be Georgia fans this week. Although I have Alabama, we probably should be Georgia fans. SEC East, that makes the win look, or at least our performance look a lot better against Georgia if they were able to beat Alabama. People agree as a national power. Last SEC game is Arkansas at Tennessee. Who do you have there?
I'm going to go with Tennessee just because of the home field advantage in this case. I know Tennessee has blown a lot of games, but Arkansas has lost against non-SEC teams. I'm taking Tennessee.
I'm going to go with Arkansas on the road. I think Tennessee will find a way to blow it as they've seemed to do the last few years, last few games. I'm going to go with Arkansas.
All right, so on all 4 SEC games, we're disagreeing this time.
Yeah, we're split. It's either time for me to pretty much lock this game up in the second week of playing it or for you to come back.
The battle's going to be intense this week, but we have one more game. It's college game day, Notre Dame at Clemson. Who do you have?
I have Notre Dame. They've looked very impressive despite losing their starting quarterback. Clemson barely beat Louisville. Taking Notre Dame.
You're spot on with that. I have to agree with you, Notre Dame.
Okay.
Well, I think that's all we have today. We can all agree that Vandy is on the rise and a bowl game could be in our future, but we'll take it 1 week at a time and look forward to the MTSU game.
Definitely. We'll both be out at that game. Hopefully we'll see some of you there. Anchor down.
Anchor down.